yo, what's poppin', what's crack-a-lackin', what's really good? You are listening to The Rope Break, your source for news, opinions, and anything else that revolves around the world of professional wrestling. It is I, the Samoan scintillator of all your senses, JoeMaga. I am here with my boy. He is the all-hail the shaman of smashing sheetrock, Shockmaster Grizz. Say what up to him, Grizz.
I'm marking out, dude.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Marking out for yourself, yeah.
For us, yeah.
We deserve it. And I'm with our boy. He is the Maharaja of marijuana. Brett the Hitman, say what up to him, son.
It's a Punjabi party up in here today.
All right, so before we get into the gauntlet, I just want to shout out that it's been a long time coming since we've had this show once again, and I just want to say I really appreciate all you guys sticking in here with us, but more importantly, I appreciate both of my partners here for being so understanding and being so helpful over the last month or so. With that said, let's break into the gauntlet. Gauntlet 1.
So if you do recall, my friends, the gauntlet is where we take 5 topics, do a minute each, and we're just hurtling through them in order to keep our blood going and get our cardio up for this segment, for the rest of the show. Starting off here, we've got the topic number 1 should be number 1 on everybody's charts. We've got the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, if they call it that anymore, which they don't. Despite positive reaction and support across the board from his contemporaries, Jinder Mahal's world title victory is a point of contention among wrestling fans. Was the former 3MB member's meteoric rise forced, or does his hard work merit the sudden thrust into the company's top spot?
Listen, there's something to be said for the way the guy transformed himself, be it natural or not. But at the same time, this is forced, but for a good reason, I think. WWE can make a lot of money in India, more so than the Northeast.
I say it was definitely forced, too. I mean, I would have never saw this coming if you told me this like 3 months ago. I would have been like, you're fucking crazy.
Well,
but,
he came on to SmackDown and lost to Mojo Rawley.
Exactly. So I would say I'm very shocked. What do you think, Bear?
I think a lot of times WWE tends to have somebody have those losses right in the beginning, right before they have some kind of good reward for them. And it's kind of like a penance, and then they do it. You know, Triple H was in hog pen matches before he became the Game, right?
Yeah.
What I have to say
about
that was
a punishment.
You said transformation, correct? I think the transformation is far more than physical, despite the physical differences. He's talking about how he's reading Grant Cardone, and he's reading all this positive thinking stuff, and he works harder than anyone else, and he's always in Vince's ear, and that is what makes you Triple H. He's the Indian Triple H.
Sure. But it's no question that this is all about India, and they can make a lot of money there, and it's the right move. He's there.
So, topic number 2. As you may have heard, Randy Orton issued a tweet that cast indie wrestling in a negative light.
Right. So let me read those tweets for you before we get started here.
Actually, it was Rip Rogers, I believe, who issued the initial tweet.
Rip Rogers came out on Twitter and said, I just got this, and then fast-forwarded along. It's one of those pictures of someone's notes that they said it's like a trick you use to get a long tweet out there. So it says, every indie match now is a handshake, drawn-out move exchange, this is awesome chant, strike exchange, dive, no-sell indie strong style, dive, more strikes, no-sells, dive, flippy-floppy sequence, dive, hit everyone with each other's finisher, then Humpty-Dumpty, we all fall down, fight forever chant, rinse and repeat until every move is useless, means nothing, dive, take unsafe shots that look like shit, hurt like hell, and roll up finish. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this because I don't necessarily disagree.
Dive.
Yeah, well, handshake, hug after match, everyone's hand raised, all guys chant, go home, type on social media, thanking your opponents and the company for the match, telling others they should book these guys, dive. Now, to me, that's very funny. It's definitely generalizing a certain indie style. It's not necessarily right to generalize anyone for that sort of thing. It's also
you generalized ECW about hardcore.
Chair shot.
So after a little backlash, he issued a response. Oh, the backlash was basically other wrestlers, tweeting who were butthurt about the rant. After a little backlash, he issued a response that was dismissive and flippant.
Well, Randy Orton did.
Randy Orton
said,
apologize.
First he said, I'm sorry.
He was basically talking about being on the SmackDown tour and selling out shows.
Oh, no, Randy Orton just retweeted it. Okay.
At first,
he just retweeted it, and once he retweeted it, he's Randy Orton, so he ended up with more backlash than Rip Rogers did, because really the only people who are following Rip Rogers are like marks like in this room.
I had never heard of Rip Rogers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, all the internet marks went after Orton pretty heavy on this one. They really didn't even need a reason to be going after him.
But even independent wrestlers did too.
Sure. So he got a whole bunch of backlash.
Bubba Ray Dudley did.
Yeah, well, that's Bubba pandering a little bit to all the people that he wants in his finishing school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Bubba's a douche to everyone. Him and Randy are probably buddies because they're such dicks to everybody.
Well, they've said so too.
Oh, really?
During this whole thing, Bubba's been like, "Hey, me and Randy are boys. I don't know why he attacked me like this." So anyway,
Randy says. After the retweet and the backlash, he says, "I really need to issue an apology. Sorry to the indie guys, indie marks. I love that. To the indie guys, and old timers who do dives took offense. Just having a good time over a few drinks in Denmark, closing out this live SmackDown tour." I love that too. That's a little subtle jab right there to the indie guys. While beating Raw, he doesn't. This guy, nobody ever accused him of being a wordsmith. Let me tell you that. Just having a good time over a few drinks in Denmark, closing the SmackDown live tour, while beating Raw and making over $5 million in the last 11 shows. Now I know to some that doesn't equate to a standing room only crowd of 150 people paying $8 in an armory somewhere, but in the big boy world, that's called putting asses in seats. So enjoy your flips, dives, and 20 super kicks per match. To each their own. I will go dive back into the 13th title run and get ready to flip when my bank statement comes this month. ... Headlock. I love that. That is a fucking heel move right there. And I just thought he's a heel in real life. We can agree.
And
on that.
I've heard stories.
Yeah.
From Maven, of all people.
So what is the question here?
The question here, oops, I keep starting that. The question is, does Randy Orton's pedigree as a third-generation wrestler exempt him from never having built indie cred?
Yes. because
starting off with a bang.
Well, because listen, this guy knows how to make money. It's not like he's a third-generation superstar just for being a third-generation superstar. He's earned his spot here. This has not been just him because of his pedigree getting pushed through to the top. That's never really happened for many wrestlers out there. I'm sure I'm going to get checked on that one, but even Charlotte Flair is the same way. It definitely does not exempt them. He's earned his spot. He knows how to make money, and he knows how to wrestle.
Yeah, I agree with Joe on this one also. I mean, it doesn't exempt him at all. I mean, he's proven himself time after time again. He is a third generation, but you can tell how hard he's worked for everything. So, I mean, the guy's held the title plenty of times. Would you say that?
Come back from plenty injuries.
What I'm more impressed by is that he was on strike 2. Strike 3 would have been done. They gave him a chance at a world title shot a couple of years ago, and he's been putting people over. I'm more impressed by that than I am by all of this. But, yeah, I mean, he's exempt.
Okay. And not to mention the fact, Marks out there, if I can take an aside for a second, CM Punk would have done the same exact thing. And everyone would have praised him and been bowing at his feet, and then they would have never watched an indie show again since CM Punk said that. But because Randy Orton said something like that, he's such a terrible person, and there's still going to be marks. Sit down, Marks, as CM Punk would say.
When you saw the Forbes list, what was Randy Orton getting paid?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. But remind me to bring that up next show. Guys, we got a rundown from Forbes that they put out a bunch of the WWE Millionaires Club is what they were talking about, and they gave a bunch of figures of all different things that the top guys in the company made over in the course of 2016. I don't have that in front of me, but the next show I will, and we'll break that down in chain wrestling.
$5 million in 11 shows. That Forbes might be inaccurate then, because that's getting more than probably what it even said on there.
Well, that's not what he made. That's what SmackDown made.
Okay, so it sounded to me originally like he did say while beating Raw and making over $5 million in the last show, but that was, I think, SmackDown as a whole. In the last 11 shows, that's SmackDown as a whole.
SmackDown Live.
Definitely.
I can see how you confuse that though.
I mean, that's a delightful segue, by the way, because the next topic, and it's your favorite wrestler in the world, Joe, or your favorite former wrestler, I suppose, at this point. Every time talk about CM Punk dies down, he finds his way into some headlines. Recently, Daniel Hinkles, promoter of 5 Star Wrestling, issued an open letter stating that he has pursued the voice of the voiceless for over a year, and he will pay Punk a cool mill to participate in a 128-man tournament that begins on June 10th. As an aside, if you pay a guy $1 million, you're going to book him to win the tournament, so spoiler alert. But regardless, the question actually is CM Punk even worth talking about right now?
Will CM Punk do this? That's the question.
Well, the real question is like,
well, let me.
Is this
okay? Now that we're on the clock, no, not possible at all.
He might do this to be spiteful to WWE.
No, not a chance. He's under contract with the UFC.
Oh, you're right. Since he's under contract with UFC,
but
is he worth talking about though?
You can't see me. That's me ringing the bell every time I make a good point. And that's not the use. That's not used for the bell at all. But no, he's not worth talking about in a wrestling sense right now. But he's always worth talking about because he's a good character. You know what I mean? And he does things to help his wife out and stuff like that. And he makes a good character. He's entertaining. That's really the bottom line. I would always keep talking about CM Punk. Keep him relevant.
AJ Lee said she wanted to return recently, didn't she?
No, I didn't see that she wanted to return. She just released her book, and she's making some good dough about that.
Really? Something. She said something she'd be interested in returning to wrestling in the future.
Yeah, maybe now that women's wrestling is really good, she belongs.
Possibly, but I heard her just on Sam Roberts very recently, and she wasn't interested. But I think CM Punk is good. What do you think?
My opinion is, yeah, always.
Okay. But I will say this about CM Punk. I was very impressed with the Chicago crowd the other night in that they didn't hijack the show. They didn't hijack the show at all.
Yeah.
You know, they were, especially on the NXT side of things, they were in. And NXT was not a good build. That was a great show, but that was not a good build. And we'll talk about that later in
zero build. But the next one, actually, Joe, you will be head over heels about because you and I have both been really digging this UK stuff. Oof. The UK title match at Takeover last week received much acclaim, both backstage at the time and all over in the weeks since. Is WWE doing enough to bring attention to their apparent British division? And do you see it being exclusive to NXT when it airs in the US, or gradually finding time on main roster broadcasts?
It should find its way on main roster broadcasts because of the work rate quality and because of these guys know how to get characters over. I think it would be stifled on the main event roster, just like we saw with the Cruiserweight Championship. What I really think they need to do is they're doing enough attention for us, but they're not doing enough. And I don't know. I'm not over there. I'm not across the pond, so I don't know what they're doing over there on the channels and things like that. But they haven't even defined what this is going to be yet. There is no show. So
it's a championship without a show.
Right. So in that way, no, they're not doing enough.
I haven't watched much of it, to be honest, but my opinion would be that I don't think that they're going to have time on the shows for these guys, but I think if the guys are good enough, they will move up to NXT and then move on to the WWE. So I only think certain guys that are fighting in this tournament or representing the UK are going to be able to.
Okay,
so
you don't think that they even need to do enough to bring attention to it because you think the cream's going to rise to the top?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Bing. Okay, so I'm just going to say my point real quick. I think Brett here loves wrestling as much as any of us, but he is the least marky of the three people in this room, so he knows the least about it because they are not marketing it at all.
Great point. Look at that
that's a good point.
That's a great point.
And the best wrestling I've seen probably this year as a whole, like on a show as a whole, not between two guys or women, is the UK tournament. So
my God,
what's that motherfucker's name from NXT? The bald guy, Danny Birch. That guy was like nasty. He busted his head open during the match.
Yes.
This guy's a stud.
And you know what I found out this week? I found out that Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate are in a stable together in the UK.
In England.
Oh,
that's so good.
And their faces. This guy, Pete Dunne, I'm not going to go on my rant right now, but he's my favorite wrestler.
Handle flatliner?
Oh, man. And that's me saying that from being... I'm still marking out about the fact that Samoa Joe is on my TV every Monday night. And Pete Dunne is my favorite wrestler.
Okay. Well, there's one left. We've been talking about the Broken Hardys for the entire time that the rope break has been back, so I might as well keep it going. There have been a lot of emails revealed. Segments of Matt Hardy's contract have been brought to the masses
from the current president of the of Impact Wrestling, who is not a wrestling guy, so has
an Anthem guy.
He has no stake in getting angles over.
He doesn't give a shit about it.
Nope.
But his point actually kind of changed my mind on the subject, because he says what shows up on our television, no matter who creates it, is our intellectual property. And
that's how television works.
He wrote an email to Vince that said, hey, you guys, it sounds like you're mad at me for owning this property. Like, do you want it? Because if you want it, we could talk about it. And WWE was like, no, we don't need it. So the question is,
one thing that was stiff, one thing that he said in the emails that was super stiff was, I have all the desire in the world to come to a solution if you'd like to work with us. I have absolutely zero desire to work with the talent or his wife via Twitter.
Awesome.
But the fuck the owl chant is still my favorite of the year so far.
Yes. So, and I know that sometimes you don't like the rather lurid or what's the word I'm looking for? The chants that are kind of
that are hijacking the show. No, I'm not a fan
well, and
of
also
that.
the really bad like women like degrading chants.
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah.
Like the time we were at the ROH thing and you just started yelling, "You suck dick."
Well, okay. It was much closer removed from ECW at that point, so it was kind of normal.
Oh man.
Anyway, are the intricacies of the gimmick, the broken gimmick, worth investing money into, or can the Hardys continue as they have and still maximize their potential value to WWE?
Here's the real question. I'm not sure about the maximizing thing. There's going to be money right now in the Nostalgia Act, as there is. But the only thing that's keeping their stuff alive, especially with Cesaro and Sheamus, is the little subtleties of the broken gimmick. So, no, I don't know that this is sustainable other than a Nostalgia Act for the next... after WrestleMania next year, say, for instance.
How long did it last for the Dudleys?
New Age Outlaws.
Very true. In order to maximize their top potential in WWE currently, they need to get this from TNA.
So you think so? That's what you think? They can't maximize it otherwise?
They will, they're the Hardy Boys. They'll always have their place in WWE. But to maximize their potential right now in today's wrestling, they need these delete, and they need him to be on that right now.
What do you think?
I think it's fair to say that their in-ring work is different and more appealing probably to today's crowd than the Dudleys or the New Age Outlaws.
But that's
if you're going to compare them.
That's in Jeff being a solo babyface.
People want to chant delete. They keep doing it. So it's like, they want it.
I think you do need... I know I keep getting shut
That was
off.
a Royal Rumble minute.
I think we've had a few. I think you do need to capitalize on it, but I think you can do your own version if you're WWE.
Cracked Matt and Brother Zero.
Hey, listen, TNA's been doing it for years.
That's
but
true.
I think you can. I think you can even do something. It's a little more of a departure and still capture the essence, personally. And I think the fans will know what you're doing.
Sure.
So our next segment,
it's just unfortunate because there's so many ways to break Matt. You could have the Wyatts break him. You could have that. You could have something with the Nostalgia Act break him, like if they're going along as a Nostalgia Act and somebody, it's just so easy.
If you had Bray Wyatt, who is on Raw with him, by the way, have him creep into his ear, he could have the exact same mannerisms, say all the exact same shit,
just as part of the Wyatt
and
family.
not call it broken.
Sure.
And then he could be Brother Matt, and Jeff could be Brother Jeff.
Sure.
And then you don't even have to use the word Nero, and you're still calling people brother.
Sure. So before we dive into the mainstream product, we are going into our next segment. It's called In This Corner. What happens in this corner?
In this corner, we talk about wrestling that's happening right here in our backyard and on the independent level, because that's what we can all relate to, if I'm not mistaken.
We can, and I'll just say this. We are really lucky to be in a part of the country where our indies are really, really top notch.
Yes.
I know a lot of people say what you will about Mike Lombardi, Mike O'Brien, whatever the hell you want to call him, if he's Italian or Irish this week. But He knows how to put on a good show.
As long as he's not the guy who stole all that money for autism.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about that fuck.
Well, it's been too long. We haven't been back, but
he just came up again this week. Did you see that
the news reporter chasing him into his house?
Yeah.
Oh, if you could find him, how come nobody's beating the piss out of him yet?
Have you heard about this story? No. There was a indie promoter, I guess. He sounded more like a money mark to me. Mm-hmm. But he put on a show for autism awareness. It was just a charity show, and it was all going to go. And all the workers did it pro bono to go do that and all this stuff. And the guy walked with the money, never donated it. People are pissed. The entire CT indie scene, Massachusetts scene, and Rhode Island scene are all after this guy. And
nobody can find him, or what?
The news found him this week. They found him this week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I don't know what you do though. Like
PWA guys were on that show. They didn't get paid because they're doing it for autism.
Right.
PWA employs an autistic gentleman as a ring announcer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's he doing running away when they got him on camera?
Yeah, he had his whole head down thing, like fucking just...
So what they do, how do they know that he pocketed the money? The autism place just said he never donated it?
Yeah, he never donated to where he said he was going to. And then when someone's in your face with a microphone saying, where's the money, where's the money, where's the money, we just want to know where the money is, and he's just like beelining it to his front door. You know.
What a fucking piece of shit.
Isn't that the worst? That's like one of the worst things you can do. You might as well just
turn around and admit it at that point. You're not denying it. So
how did he think he was going to get away with this? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way people's train of thoughts go.
Wrestlers are going to get their hands on him at some point.
That's the way they do it.
It's old school.
It is.
So PWA has Friday night fights this week. We're going to get into another event that's going on this week as well. And, there are different strokes for different folks. PWA is always good. Friday night fights is $5. Your kids can enjoy it. A lot of times they're standing room only if you don't get there soon enough, but it's right in Cheshire. You've got the international champion, Sebastian Cage, the new one. He's a member of the infamous Injustice League. The guy does a ton of really athletic, acrobatic stuff. Hippie Dicky Moon, the former champ. Old school champ Dan DeMann, who also wrestles for NEW. Like, he's a big name in the area. Moonshine McCready is like 2 steps away from getting spotlighted in a bunch of different companies. All these guys are sick. And they bring in guys from out of state, too, who you otherwise wouldn't have seen. That said, this Friday in Newburgh, I know JoeMaga is going to finish that raw chicken and tell you all about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this show. I haven't been to a good NEW show in probably about a year. I was really upset that I missed that epic match between Kurt Angle and Cody Rhodes at the Crosby High School. But this time at the Newburgh Ice Time Arena, Friday night, starting at 8 p.m., we got a hell of a card. It's the NEW Spring Slam special event, if you will. Yeah. And we got Ryback's on this card. He's fighting Dijak. Now, I love Dijak. Have you guys had the chance to see Dijak at all?
Bethany.
Okay.
This is going to go into what I say when you're done with this, but Dijak and Flip Gordon fucking stole the entire night hard.
Yeah, I saw.
And Cody Rhodes fought Bobby Fish.
Yeah. Right.
Dijak and Flip stole the night.
I saw some clips of that Dijak and Flip match. Dijak is a huge guy. He's a very large man. Wrestles like an indie guy. He's got a great finish and a great attitude. When you hear this guy talk, you really think he's going places.
Definitely never seen another 7-footer hitting a Acai moonsault to the outside of the ring.
There's and the only guy that I can compare him to right now is the one Corleone guy, who wrestles for CMLL. He's a luchador, and he's been down there forever, and he's not anywhere near 7 feet tall. He's like 6'4", and his Acai moonsault's impressive. So to see Dijak do this stuff is really a sight to behold. You may have seen him in Ring of Honor or whatever, but he's been kind of an NEW staple these days. He is wrestling the big guy, Ryback. I'm interested to see what this match is like. I see a lot of Dijak stuff is always obviously with smaller guys. He's on the indies. He's 7 feet tall. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if he's going to get right back in that finish.
The only other time I've seen Dijak fight anyone his size or bigger was Wrecking Ball Legursky from right here in Connecticut, and Wrecking Ball took it. So
cool. Booker T's going to be on the event. I don't think he's just signing autographs. I think they're going to put him in an angle. I'm not sure what that is yet. The Battle Brothers, they're fun. A couple of good big guys right there.
They're the tag champs right now, I believe.
They are. They're fighting the Now. Shout out to Vic Delicious.
Which those guys, I've seen them have good matches before too.
Vic Delicious is great.
He is.
He's been around for a long time.
Reminds me of Dean Ambrose.
Yeah. And then the main event of the evening. Cole versus Rhodes. Adam Cole, baby, versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Listen, this is a match for the ages. Couple Bullet Club All-Stars right here. And
one recently former Bullet Club member.
Right.
So you kind of wonder if, I don't know if NEW plays that angle hard or not. If they acknowledge the Bullet Club hard or not.
If someone from the Bullet Club comes out.
Shows up.
What I will say is that this was an expensive ticket. so I would have to assume. I mean, I know they're paying Cody and Adam Cole and Booker T and Ryback, and of course the rest of the guys. But I'm sure Dijak isn't cheap either these days. But you know, I would have to assume that with Spring Slam and the push that they put behind this, there will be maybe some surprises. I'm not talking about Jack Swagger. That is not a surprise to me.
Well, yeah, but he is on the show.
I almost bought his shirt this week, though.
I saw your text.
Did you see his shirt on the $5 rack this week?
Yeah, dude, it should be on the $2 rack. This right,
which one?
That one, the red and white.
No, you can't buy that.
It's Memorial Day weekend. I was feeling in some type of way. And
keyword is he almost did. Then he was like, "No, I'm not fucking getting this shit."
Exactly.
Yeah, that's when you buy a Kurt Angle shirt for fucking $30.
Sure, yeah, that's true. Sure. So, really looking forward to this NEW event. I haven't been to a nice indie show in a long time. So, wifey and I are going to get all jazzed up at the Newburgh Brewing Company. Head over to Ice Time and watch some wrestling.
Well, and I wanted to go with you, man. I got to hang out with Justin Rossini, Greg Morrison, fucking Eddie Simon, I hope, you know.
You're going to have a grand old time with your college roommates, bud.
But the last thing for In This Corner, we've got Flip Gordon. We were talking about him. He stole the show with Dijak. When I saw him...
Former NEW champion, before Cody.
Right. Yes. And the first time I saw him was at the event with Angle, right? And I was like, Flip is your name. And then he's... not a very big guy, and he's doing a bunch of, aerial stuff, and I'm like, oh, man, this is just a high spot
Flip,
guy.
Dive, high spot, dive.
Right. This is just a high spot
This is awesome,
guy.
chant.
So then I see him wrestle Dijak, who's another guy who's like, oh, he was in Ring of Honor. It's kind of like a spot thing where he's really big but can be athletic. These guys put on a genuine, like, wrestling fucking classic. It was an outstanding match. The entire crowd was on their feet the entire time. Really earned a lot of cred from me, which doesn't mean anything, but
sure it does.
Everyone likes to think
you're a supermark with a microphone.
Yeah, exactly. So I was beyond pleased to read that Flip Gordon recently signed with Ring of Honor. The guy's going to be on TV all the time.
And it's a very pivotal time for Ring of Honor right now. A lot of guys are getting scooped up. A lot of guys are going elsewhere. A lot of guys are going to Japan. Japan's got a huge initiative going on, especially trying to come stateside on a bigger level. And I know they have a partnership with Japan, but Ring of Honor has really felt the effects of this WWE gobbling things up. It makes me a little nervous, to be quite honest with you, because the landscape of the wrestling scene is doing so well these days that I don't want to see, WWE can't pillage it too much, because then there won't be anything to rise up. If they take out ROH completely, if they take out Evolve completely, if they take out New Japan completely, no one's going to be able to... They take out the fucking UK scene completely. No one's going to be able to... No one's going to be invested in the next round of guys who need to be built up and then move on to the WWE. Yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen. A little tangent there. But it's good to see a guy with the talent of Flip Gordon moving into the Ring of Honor scene. And I feel like, judging by the things that I saw from the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, the parts of it that I caught, there will be some good things on the horizon.
Oh, man, they're nuts. It's good.
Very
it's
good stuff.
I mean, their hometown is Bethany, and they put on a show with Bobby Fish versus Cody Rhodes and Flip Gordon versus Dijak, like I saw. Like,
shout out to NEW and the entire Connecticut and New York Northeast indie scene for really stepping the game up.
And PWA, man. Like the last show, Dickie Moon lost the international title. He did a somersault plancha to the outside into the crowd because they have so limited space. I mean, they're killing it. Everyone's killing it.
That's a cool setup they have for Friday night lights. So Friday night fights over there.
Yeah. Everything in the area is really good.
Right on. That was In This Corner. And where else, folks? Where else are you going to hear the Connecticut indie scene of wrestling like that, or the indie scene at all, on any podcast, except for right here? Exactly. Right here on the Rope Break. Segment 3, chain wrestling. What happens in chain wrestling?
Well, now we're just going to kind of, just like chain wrestling leads move to move, and you're kind of talking about what's going on. We're just going to talk about what's going on real quick before we lead directly into business is about to pick up.
So in this segment, I just really want to talk about the I don't even want to call it a pay-per-view, the WWE special event, if you will, both NXT TakeOver Chicago and Backlash. Whatever.
What happened this week? If I may.
You may.
Shinsuke, like, you're wearing red. You're still wearing red. It's just so glaring against the SmackDown blue. It's like...
Yeah, I like that ugly jacket, though. I like that jacket. And AJ's been wearing red, too. I understand what you're saying. But a more pressing issue. Okay, well, let's go talk about Ty Dillinger first. Or do you want to talk about NXT first? Let's go to NXT after.
Yeah, NXT was better anyway.
All right, let's break this down then. Yeah. Ty Dillinger and Aiden English started off. Did you guys know that Aiden English is married to Vicky and Eddie Guerrero's daughter?
I read that.
Yes, I read it too.
That's mind-blowing
Recently, though.
That's mind-blowing to me. That's literally... That's taking your investment in being a heel to the next level. To marry into the biggest heel family that's ever existed.
Do you think he has what it takes?
Aiden? I liked Aiden a lot in when he was a solo act in NXT. I didn't like the vaudevillain so much. I thought, but only because there was such a shelf life on that gimmick.
Yes. What about his singing act now? You think that's going to stick?
I like that. I think it's funny because he's just bad enough to hate it.
It's funny to me, but it's like it seemed like at the pay-per-view it just lasted too long. You know what I mean? It was just like they usually give him like a brief segment. It just seemed like they kept going with it, and he just was singing everything.
Sure, right. That was the pre-show though, and they had pretty much unlimited time. But Ty Dillinger was over in Chicago.
He was.
I got to say, I don't love the guy, but he was over.
Where does he get it? Like, I don't know a single person who like cares about him at all.
His character is boring.
They like chanting 10.
They just want to do the 10
They just want to chant.
I've said it many times on this show. That's going to fuck up a match one of these days, too.
Like having a man bun and the stupid fucking shaved shit in the side of your head doesn't make you a perfect 10. What makes you a perfect 10? Like what Ravishing Rick Rude could say he was a perfect 10. I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know what he's
abs, God damn it. So vascular.
You want to go on to the second match, or do you want to just not talk about it?
Hey, Ty Dillinger was over. Good for him. And he had a good showing on Talking Smack.
Okay, good for him.
You want to talk about this snooze fest right here? Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan?
Well, let's break down the order of matches. So
you want to go in order?
They opened the pay-per-view with his first match in the WWE that they made such a big deal out of with Shinsuke Nakamura and
some jobber. I don't remember his name.
Some blonde guy. What do you think about this match? Did you like this match?
I watched it. I watched every second of it.
What do you think about this match being the curtain jerker?
Pathetic.
In what way?
Like, I understand that you want your Chicago crowd to like genuflect to the idol of Shinsuke Nakamura. But
you don't even give him the proper entrance to allow the crowd to do that, because that's
not only do you not give the proper entrance for the crowd to do that, but you also, by putting it first, it's like if you want people to adore that guy, you make them wait for him. Now every match after that, they already saw Shinsuke, so it's cool. You know what I mean? And every match was not impressive. A 6-woman with no women's title match.
That abomination.
A fucking the Breezango versus the Usos. Where are you catching people? Randy Orton versus 3MB guy. Where are you catching people if Shinsuke opens the show? Like, yeah, I'm angry about it.
So there's that. And then within the match itself, they give Dolph Ziggler like 85%. Literally. All of a sudden, you care about Dolph Ziggler getting all his shit in, and Shinsuke Nakamura selling to him for fucking 85% of this match. It just didn't make any sense to me, and the match was not good at all. to be honest with you. I know that they're going to continue on with this feud, and we'll probably see, maybe they're holding back. We'll see something good at whatever the next pay-per-view is.
People pay for the network. Stop holding back.
All we got on this pay-per-view as in a whole was another SmackDown episode.
Yeah, and a world title change.
Okay. So, did you like the Shinsuke Nakamura match? You've never really seen Shinsuke wrestle before,
Just
right?
in
I've seen Shinsuke wrestle literally probably 100 matches.
He's fantastic, but this match was not fantastic. But I felt bad for him because, I believe what you guys said was true because there was no way in hell I thought that they were kicking off the show with this fucking match. Shinsuke Nakamura was the headline of the show. Plus, he was on all the Backlash posters, all the headlines for Backlash. It was just him. So why wouldn't you put him in the middle of the show, the match before the main event? Why is fucking Luke Harper and Rowan the match before the main event?
Well, you do have to let people chill out from the match before the main event and the main event. That's, they call them popcorn matches,
Yeah.
It used to be the Divas title match because the women weren't wrestling.
It was booked the same way this time. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Shinsuke, though. It's not like they let him even get the crazy strong style stuff in and just...
There's nothing.
Because that's what I thought you were pairing him. I thought you were pairing him...
He hit a couple stupid fucking kicks.
Knees. It was kicks and knees. I thought that they were going to pair him with Ziggler so that Ziggler would flop around for him and oversell. Which is the one time that he should have been overselling. This doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why you would have Dolph Ziggler, who never does anything, doesn't even get his shit out on Kalisto, like you said it.
The only reason I could think about this match starting the pay-per-view, this pay-per-view for a whole had a lack of excitement. So if you look at all the other matches, there was really nothing that was going to come out for the first match.
They were hot for Ty Dillinger.
And pump all of us up. You know what I mean? It was just, that's hot. The only reason.
They were hot for Ty Dillinger.
Right. So, I don't know if Shinsuke... Do you think that there's a possibility... Now, this is really hearsay on my part, and it's not necessarily responsible, but I don't give a shit. And I hate the way... I've never worked, so I hate to bag on anyone, on any work style, right? But this was not...
Is he phoning it in?
Because he was the curtain jerker. But he sold for Ziggler, so if he was phoning it in, he wouldn't have sold him, right? I don't know. That's mind-boggling to me. And I didn't get a chance to see SmackDown this week, but I can't imagine that the crowd was hyped to see the guy who didn't even get the violin entrance, and what a letdown for a first match. That's really all I have to say about it that's left. So after that, we got the tag titles from the Usos.
Let's do this quick.
Okay.
Because this pay-per-view is horrible.
We don't even have to talk about the rest of these fucking matches.
Well, let's...
I actually liked the Law and Order vignettes.
Those were
funny.
I'm a big fan of
They
Law
have
and
good
Order.
Rolling Stone put out something that was like, hey, at least Breezango is making wrestling fun again.
And they have great comedic timing.
Yeah.
They have great comedic timing. I thought this match, though, was their opportunity to come out and prove themselves as legit wrestlers because they both can go, especially Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze has had matches with Hideo Itami that were like jaw-dropping. Whatever. So, either way, not great. One thing I did enjoy was that when the Usos cracked up laughing a couple times, they couldn't even help themselves. I thought that was funny. That kind of made it for me. This was kind of a throwaway match, though, unfortunately. And it did diminish the titles a little bit in my eyes, but whatever.
SmackDown Tag Division diminishes the titles.
Okay. That's a fair point. Fair point. So with the Usos and Breezango, this is probably going to carry on a little bit, but we'll see what happens next time. All right, so the next match on the card was the Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. This was a match.
Sami Zayn won. Next.
We all picked Baron Corbin in our picks, so this was obviously unexpected. Sami Zayn never ever gets anything from WWE, so no one was expecting this. And the way they've been pushing the fuck out of Baron Corbin, who the fuck thought he was going to lose to Sami Zayn?
Really strange booking in general. I don't even think we need to go there. It's just more of a bitch fest. I'd rather bitch about the women's match because they booked this match like a Popcorn Divas match from 2006, and the women on this roster in particular are fantastic.
All 6 of them, yeah.
And so, I don't know what to tell you. It was terrible.
Carmella's not fantastic yet. She'll get there, but
she'll get there though, and she's over.
Yeah, she's over the whole thing with what's his name.
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe this was the best match they could come up with for the fucking women's division.
Didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. You don't even know what the picture is, what the title picture is. Why is Charlotte a babyface? They never explained that.
Never at all.
Natalia's out there forcing a heel gimmick on that she shouldn't be a heel at all. Like she's a natural babyface, which is so hard to come by. And anyway, it just doesn't. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Nah.
SmackDown Women's Division has suffered greatly.
Well, and not by Naomi winning the SmackDown Women's title.
The only thing that could salvage this, in my opinion, right now, is to send up Asuka and have her smash everybody.
Yeah, well, it's suffering because you can tell. Because even when Charlotte comes down, the excitement is not there anymore.
No, because nobody wants to see Charlotte as a babyface.
She's a heel.
I have to say, I missed Owens and AJ Styles.
You missed the match?
I didn't see the match.
This was the only good match on the show.
I was really excited about it.
It was a great match, terrible ending. Yeah.
I loved the ending.
See, like
I did. But that was a dusty finish, big time. But the thing is, so do you know how it finished? AJ sold the knee/ankle the entire match, got caught up on the table trying to do a spot. Owens tied him up in the cables on the table for a count out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good finish. It was awesome. It was a good finish for a feud that's going to carry on.
Yeah,
it was good.
If you're going to keep putting those guys in the ring, that's great.
The best thing that happened on the entire night was Kevin Owens on Talking Smack. Everyone go watch it. I'm not going to break down what he did, what he said. We know what his little nuances that make him a heel.
Like when he walked off?
And then came back on, and then walked off and came back. I love that. I just love the whole thing. I love the way he treated Rosenberg, who is excellent.
That was funny.
And I love the whole thing. Great match. That was the best match on the card. Don't even have much to say about it. Unfortunately, it was the only highlight, so we can't bitch.
Unless you consider the fact that Jinder Mahal won the world title to be a highlight, because the fact of the matter remains, and this is going on all over the world.
And Harper and Rowan happened, which is just weird.
It was weird.
No reason to pair those two together.
But Orton and Mahal, man. Jinder Mahal won the world title. Like, that's definitely worth a conversation.
Shocking. We talked about it at the top of the show in the Gauntlet. Listen, I really think that this is going to be good for the WWE in the long run, because they're at a point now where they have to make money. The subscribership is down on the network right now.
Do you think this has to do with the WWE doing something in India? Like
it has everything to do with it.
That's the whole.
It has everything to do with it. There is such an opportunity in India for them to make so much more money than they do. They found out, basically they did a bunch of studies where India is really almost like neck and neck with North America, which is mind-blowing in regards to viewership and
got 1 billion people
and money spent, and they're not monetizing it enough. So Jinder is their guy. He's there.
TNA tried to, remember?
Yeah. And they still are, and they're going even further.
Oh,
now.
Okay.
Excuse me. They have an Indian star who they're priming for their title as well. WWE just hot-shotted it and said, we'll do it first.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, I wasn't kidding when we were in the Gauntlet. Like, everything I've read, and I've been reading everything because I was like, what the fuck? How did you give this guy the belt? Everything I read, the guy, he's a heel. Like, he's supposed to be cheating and being a jerk. And in the media, he's a fucking giggling child who's just happy to have the belt. And he says he was an alcoholic, and that
really
he says he was an alcoholic, and that
I love this Maharaja stuff.
Said he was depressed during the 3MB thing, and that he wasn't putting any effort in, and they fired him, and he's like, I would have fired me too. And he went home and he started reading things like Grant Cardone. I said this earlier, like reading a lot of stuff about just improving yourself as a whole, and put in the time, put in the effort. It may, regardless of how he improved his physique, he's improving his mind. And he's doing exactly what Triple H did, which is get in Vince's ear and be like, how can I improve? And every time you go out there, improve the way Vince wants you to improve. And he's done it. And now he's the world champion.
Vince Russo tweeted that he likes this a lot because he had passion.
Oh, Jesus, now I hate it.
I don't know. Something about passion and all this other bullshit.
It's true. And you know what? It's true. And it shows through. And the match was good itself. Was good. I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
I thought did you see the spot when Randy threw the second Singh brother through the table?
The first one wasn't that bad either.
The first one was bad. The first one was bad.
What was Randy Orton thinking throwing both of those guys like that in the back?
Did
of their
you
necks?
see when Randy completely broke character and it was like, oh no, he gave like a wince, like, oops, I definitely threw that guy the wrong way. I hope he's okay. Like, you can't see me, but he gave the camera one of these, right? Like, he didn't do it on purpose. He was really scared for that guy.
If you were, I don't mean to cut you off.
Sure.
If you were Heath Slater or Drew McIntyre right now, are you happy for Jinder Mahal?
Yeah, they're happy.
If you're Drew McIntyre, you are extremely happy for yourself.
Yes.
Because somebody else has gotten fired from that stupid gimmick, come back and become the world champion.
He tweeted eyes, like, because he was so happy. Like, I know he's happy about it.
Yeah. And McIntyre is getting set up right now to fight with Rude.
Yeah.
So he's no slouch either.
He's no slouch. So what? Heath Slater's the one who's got the. I mean, he had the tag team titles, but he's taking a backseat to all this.
He's funny.
He's
got
kids.
He's got kids, man.
He's got kids.
I don't give a shit about your kids. F5.
I think Heath Slater pinning, was it Randy Orton?
Yeah.
With a schoolboy on Raw.
Yeah.
He's got his moment for the rest of his fucking life.
Probably. So
if I were him, I'd have a photograph of that etched on my tombstone.
So, all right, let's go around. All in all, boo for Shinsuke's debut, yay for Jinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do we
NXT TakeOver was a highlight of the week. They got to start being careful with this stuff, to be honest with you. You can't have your developmental show consistently on, like, we're going on years now that they're doing this, just outshining the show, the WWE.
Well, you
show.
would think it was like a motivational tool, but the main roster doesn't deliver. So,
and like the main roster, they dump so much money into all the production and stuff, and they still don't deliver. There's too many.
Kind of like bands.
There's too many cooks in the kitchen, and then it's Vince, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But kind of like bands in what way?
In the sense that, like, the young, hungry guys are just outperforming the guys who do it for a living, kind of,
Sure.
you know?
Sure. I mean, it depends on the show and the genre a little bit.
Well, yeah, because Metallica's always going to kick the shit out of anybody else.
Right.
Just like The Rock is. Right?
Sure.
But, if you're going to Cherry Street Station in Wallingford, Connecticut, here in... babyface promo there, I guess. If you're going to Cherry Street, you're going to see bands that are, like, honing their craft and devoted to being better every day. And if you go to the Oakdale, you're going to see somebody who's been doing it for too long and they're sick of it.
Yeah, totally. But the best match of the night, without a doubt, was the United Kingdom Championship match. And it sucks because they don't really have a direction that they really want to go to with this thing as Vince takes over the world territory by territory by territory.
And yet they consistently, UK at least, consistently measures up and maybe even exceeds every other thing on any show they do.
Sure. So I've liked a lot what they've been doing with Roddy Strong. At NXT, they really highlighted his background and things like that, and it's been great. I'd like to see him get set up with a title program, and I think he's going to continue on with Sanity, which I don't love. I'm not loving Sanity. I think Eric Young is washed up, in my opinion. He's just kind of like out there doing the same kind of mannerisms, but it's a weird gimmick. All these cult gimmicks, I'm over. I'm over all these cult gimmicks these days.
Well, if it had worked with the Wyatts, then we'd be having a different conversation.
But they never push it. They never push it far enough.
Yeah.
So Roddy Strong went over there. Roddy's awesome in the ring. The Authors of Pain and DIY. Holy shit, what a main event that was. And I was wondering why the Bobby Roode match wasn't on last. I'm not loving the way Bobby Roode... I know I'm jumping all over, but I'm trying to breeze through this so we can go on because we're running a little late here. But I'm not loving how Bobby Roode is working matches. Are you? He seems like very...
I don't think he's ever been comfortable in this gimmick. Okay. Or with the music. He dances off time.
Yeah.
He doesn't do the right gestures at the right time.
Yep. I noticed that too.
And at first I thought, well, I'm I sing. I've been in bands. I technically am a musician, and I thought maybe he just doesn't get it, but like it doesn't work.
The gimmick works. The work style doesn't for me. The way he's in the ring, so I guess the gimmick doesn't work. But I thought it was a really underwhelming match for the parties involved.
I think he's a great wrestler.
I think he is too. But the match itself was very underwhelming. I don't know. I liked the story of the storytelling of the GTS, but that's where they were.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. I didn't love that match. It'll be interesting to see where Bobby Roode goes next, though, because it wasn't.
I think it'd probably be Chris Hero. I forgot Cassius Ohno.
Sorry about that, folks. So it could be Cassius. Cassius didn't make. I think it's going to be Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
To be honest with you. So Asuka, that was cool. The finish, the triple threat match, I thought was a cool finish.
Asuka she's the new Japanese buzzsaw, man. She just mows him down.
She has officially passed Goldberg's record for a streak.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She's like 170, something crazy.
And she's never lost.
Nope.
Is this going to continue? What is the point of this?
Why do they not advertise that?
NXT does.
They do.
Yeah. But that's like the only thing on the show.
Let me ask you guys, when she comes
by the way, I will say all these women are ready for the main roster.
They're ready to go. Well, when they come up, since I don't watch NXT like you guys do, when
NXT has not been good.
This
was not a good build.
When she comes
this show
up,
over-delivered.
It over-delivered. When she comes up, is she... Obviously, she's going to compete with the girls that are the big time right now, but is she going to be like Bayley, or is she going to be like, is she going to be a Charlotte, or where do you see her falling?
What do you mean?
Like, where do you see her falling? Like, is she going to be at the top for a little bit in WWE, or you think she's going to be there to stay?
I'd love to say that she's just going to carry over the gimmick, but we haven't seen it once yet.
Mm-hmm.
So... Like, not the gimmick. They're going to carry over the gimmick, but we haven't seen...
You mean the momentum?
Because
the momentum.
Some of these people come out of NXT with so much momentum, and then they get to WWE, and there's nothing there.
All of them
come
out with so much momentum.
Let's use like somebody
just the
like
Shield.
Tyler Breeze.
Just the Shield.
Tyler Breeze, very unfortunate.
They burnt the Shield in NXT.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean right?
Yeah, but what about guys like the Ascension? Remember how much like they were pushing them hardcore when they were in
Yeah,
NXT?
but that was garbage in
That was
NXT
stupid.
too. That was a fabricated push.
Yes.
That was garbage in NXT too.
But guys that like we'll use Tyler Breeze as an example then.
But the
Somebody
Wyatts.
Bray Wyatt.
The Wyatts.
The Wyatts is the best example.
Yes.
It's definitely the best example, I think. And I think that the reason is because you take... All right, for instance, when you go and tape NXT, it's over the course of a few days, and there's no time for Vince to get in there and fuck it all up and say, I don't want this, I want to change it. The Backlash card was changing hours before. WrestleMania, changing hours before. He's just gotten senile, and he's just...
What did they change on this?
Throwing shit at the wall when he feels like it.
On this SmackDown card, what did they change? They just moved the matches around?
They moved the matches around. They probably moved the finish. They probably gave... That's where the 85% of Dolph Ziggler... Shinsuke Salen to Nakamura.
Has he always been like this, McMahon? Has he known to be like this?
Yeah, he's always been known to be like that, but I mean, it seems to be much worse as of late, and I don't love it. But my point is when there's so much more consistency in the writing, because you probably only got a couple of guys writing at NXT, and then you're in the you tape everything over the course of a weekend. There's no room to fuck up a storyline, so it probably carries over that way. What were some of the highlights for you, Bear, from the NXT Takeover?
Oh, just Tommaso Ciampa turning on, Johnny Gargano was like, I'm not going to say I saw it coming because I thought those guys were going to come up together, but now in retrospect, it's like obviously because this guy is a natural heel.
They planted the seeds.
Yeah,
they planted the seeds all the way back from their match at the Cruiserweight Championship, Cruiserweight Classic.
Sure, precisely.
And shit, what a way to finish it, right? I mean, what a way to go. First of all, that match was great.
And they got everything they could. They squeezed that lemon hard.
If I have to criticize the match one bit, is like, why do they work so hard when the only thing anyone's ever going to remember is the turn?
Yeah.
They did every spot possible in that ladder match.
They still got to improve. They still got to impress people.
Yeah. And the work that they did.
If they're just not big guys. So everything they do has to be impressive, or else, that's another cruiserweight.
The work that they did for Authors of Pain makes them not just another cruiserweight, though.
Good, I hope.
They really, really sold well for them, and they made them look good. Because the only thing that Authors of Pain have is that well-timed finish.
Yeah.
For right now.
And, kind of lumber around and hit.
But that's all they do. But, it really, at that point, just as well as anybody else, you have to sell at that point.
Yep.
And that's what really made it. So they did that great. It ended up being a great match. Then I liked it. It's so weird. Like, that Backlash had all these opportunities and didn't do any of it. And all NXT has is a lighter budget. I'm not going to say no budget, it's the WWE, and does all these nuances. Like they put the end trademark marquee up at the very end, and you didn't see that. That's what made you not see the turn coming, because it looked like the show was ending when they were, when the thing comes up, trademark
before the turn,
right before the turn, the trademark thing comes up. When you don't see the trademark thing in the past, you're like, okay, well, something's still coming. What's still coming? What's still coming? What's still coming? The trademark thing pops up, and then the turn happens. All these little nuances that NXT seems to do that the main roster doesn't even try.
There have been times that Roman Reigns won a match, right? And you're just waiting. You're like, well, what's going to happen? And nothing happens. Actually, when Braun beat Roman at the last Raw pay-per-view, they didn't end it right away. And I'm like, okay, well, something's going to happen. All right, cool. Something's going to happen. And then the trademark comes out, and I'm like, you guys have like 2 seconds to do something interesting. And they didn't. Like you're saying.
I totally agree with you.
Then the turn happens, and he just fucking lays him out, like, mercilessly.
It, like, happened after the pay-per-view ended, too, didn't it? Like, it continued. I was like, what the... It, like, went off the air, and then they came back to them fighting. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So, that was this weekend in wrestling. It was okay. NXT had a terrible build, but over-delivered.
Well, guys, this is wrapping up right before Memorial Day weekend. That's why we can't do our normal Sunday. So I just want to say... to anybody out there listening who is or is related to or is friends with or even knows a veteran, thank that veteran for their service to our way of life. It's really important that we recognize that people do lose their lives in order for us to all be alive and happy.
Thank you so much to every brave man and woman who've contributed to our freedom and preserving that freedom. And yes, like Bear said, please make sure that you thank a veteran, and that's an order.
Maggot!
For Brett the Hitman, Shockmaster Grizz, I am JoeMaga, signing out.
Suck it.
That was a great show. I thought that was great.
Was it? Good.
You didn't think so?
What do we get on the time?
Well, I never know until like after.
What's the exact timing on that?
I just have to piece
57.
But we cut out for a few, so I think...
Not really.
We paused